Hello everybody. Hello YouTube. Hello art history enthusiasts and visual culture aficionados. It's me again, Miss M. And I'm back with yet another video because you knew and you know that I couldn't just let you live in peace. I have to keep coming back making these little videos of mine. And here we are once again at the Object of Art on YouTube, where I always start my videos, so that you're in the right place. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about The Shining today, this evening, this morning, whenever you're listening to this. And before I get into that, I just want to, like I always try to do, get church announcements out the way. If you're a returning viewer, thank you for returning. If you're a new viewer, thank you for being new. In either case, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and or share the video if you know somebody who might enjoy this material. I don't have a lot of subscribers, but the few that are here, I mean, it's slowly growing, but, slowly. Not nearly as fast as I would like it to, but I'm okay with that. I'm happy you're here, whoever you are, wherever you are. But, maybe if you're watching this video, maybe you're not into it. Maybe you feel that I could have done something different or something better. And if you feel that way, feel free to hit the dislike button and get in the comments and tell me what I did wrong. Tell me how I could make these videos better. But, and that, I think that's about it. Now that we got that out the way, let's get into it. Like I've been promising a, Shining video, just like I was promising an Exorcist video for quite a while. And I finally made it. Here it is. Right. I don't know when I'll be making the next one, but I'll be making another one. For The Shining, the last one, the last official one is this one. That was a month ago. My God. But in the meantime, I've been talking about it off and on in my coffee break videos, like this one with Betty, The Cult of the Shining, and Cult of the Shining Part 2. And I'll be doing that, make sure to check in if you want to subscribe or whatever. Check in to see when I'm going to do a coffee break video, because I talk about a lot of different things during my coffee breaks, and sometimes it's The Shining. And I do talk about my theories and other theories and so on and so forth in these Understanding The Shining videos, but I don't really get into the kind of analysis that I really want to get into. So with the coffee breaks, that's when I get to chat, have a cup of coffee, and talk with you, or at you rather, about what I think might be going on. And what I think, what else I think is going on. In one of these, this one here with Morticia and Lurch, I talked about The Shining too. One of the theories that I've seen poking around on YouTube and the internet and whatever. But today I'm just gonna do my regular, schmegular, shout out to Alexander Rogers, kind of analysis of frame by frame of the movie. So this is part 5. So this will be minutes, according to my copy that I've got, that I've been watching, minutes 12 through 15 of the movie. So 3 minutes of the movie. And, where did we leave off the last time? Should I click on the video? I don't know. Let me go ahead and do that. Let me go ahead and do that. Where did we leave off? We left off right about here with Danny's face. After he's brushing his teeth, right? And he says, Wendy gets word that Jack got the job at the Overlook, and then, Tony allegedly. Everything's alleged with this movie. Like, I can't trust anything. Allegedly, Tony tells Danny that, Jack got the job and he doesn't want to go to the hotel, and Danny's like, why don't you want to go? And he shows him his, this vision of the blood coming out. And I remember telling you in this video that I think this left door is Wendy, represents Wendy, and the right door of this elevator that stays closed, that represents Jack. And I'm going to stick to that. That's what I think. That's how I feel. That's what I believe. And, this torrent, remember, torrent of blood, hence the surname of the family, Torrents. And this is the first time we see the two creepy little girls. And more blood. And then we cut to this. And then, and then that's right up until minute 12 of the movie. So, gonna get back into analysis. So that's where we left off, right? So I actually went ahead. I had 46 screenshots from the movie that I want to discuss. 46 of them. And I usually just pop them open and close them while I'm making these videos. And I said, you know what? No, that is tedious. So let me just, I said to myself, let me just do a PowerPoint presentation. And it was really easy to put together. This is like the simplest thing ever. But here's where we leave off in the movie, at minute 12, with Danny screaming his head off. And I remember remarking that when a woman gives birth, and that's what I think the blood represents, like the blood that comes out when a baby is born. And if a woman were to give birth, right, and she looked down while it's happening, while the baby's coming into the world, this is kind of what she would see. And this is like that first gasp of air that the child takes when it enters this world. And that's very reminiscent of that, at least in my opinion. And, so we see Danny's birth. That's what I think we're seeing in this sequence, in a symbolic way. And again, if the Wendy is crazy, I'm not going to call it the Wendy theory anymore, because again, that video, I've got issues with it, and I think you know what I'm talking about, especially if you've been following these Understanding the Shining videos. But I'm going to call it the Wendy is crazy theory, because that's what it really means. But come on, let's use real words here. The Wendy is crazy theory is the theory that Wendy is crazy, and she's, got some kind of schizophrenia, and that she cannot distinguish between reality and whatever it is that her mind produces. Okay? So maybe she doesn't talk to herself. And again, I hope I'm not sounding insensitive, but I have worked with people who, in my professional life, I've been around a good number of people who do have, mental health issues. And people, I don't diagnose them, no. But they just sort of volunteer the information. They say, I have schizophrenia. And just, and they warned me. And they say, look, if I start talking to myself, yeah, that's what's going on. So maybe Wendy isn't talking to herself in the movie, because we don't see her doing that. But the inside of her head produces, I don't know if I should call them hallucinations, or just images that are very heavily influenced by her unconscious mind. And maybe it's to the point where she can't distinguish between her conscious and her unconscious mind. Most people can. Your unconscious mind kind of takes over when you fall asleep. And if you have dreams, that's your unconscious mind at work. And when you're awake, your conscious mind is working to kind of propel you through your day and your activities and keep you safe and make decisions and whatever. The unconscious mind is like the party animal. The unconscious mind works when, you're asleep at night, and it says, oh, okay, whoever that mind belongs to, oh, the unconscious mind says, okay, they're asleep, so I can do whatever I want now. And the unconscious mind kind of takes over and does its thing. And your brain is always working, whether you're awake, whether you're asleep. But when you're asleep and you have what we call dreams, that is your unconscious mind kind of, in my opinion, I'm not a psychologist, no, but I think that's your unconscious mind kind of saying, okay, let's have some fun, but also let's try to work through some shit. So you get presented in your sleep with images that don't make very much sense. Okay? And hence, let me go back. Hence, this, where is it? This one. Let me open this up real quick. This, Max Dara was talking about, this Red Book, right? Okay, and Carl Jung. Okay, I need to read up a little bit more about Carl Jung, but this symbolic thing and these archetypes, this is what they're called, I think. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I will read up on it, but I think they're based on the unconscious mind, or the products of the unconscious mind. And the unconscious mind creates, again, in your sleep, or even in your fantasy world, when you're not asleep, but you're just daydreaming. The unconscious mind draws from all of the images that you've ever seen in your life, that, in your waking life. People, places that you've been, actually. And also TV, books, magazines, art, and etc. And it does a mashup of those things when you're asleep. And sometimes your dreams can be terrifying. And to the point where they're no longer called dreams, they're called nightmares. And you don't know what to do with that. When you wake up and you're like, what the hell? What did I just dream? What did I, that made absolutely no sense whatsoever. But it did. It did. It's just your mind your unconscious mind trying to tell you something that you probably wouldn't be receptive to in your waking state with your conscious mind. Because that's unfortunately the way human beings operate. You go through your life, and when you're awake, you're trying to stay alive. You're trying to survive. You're trying to get shit done, work, whatever. And you don't have time for nonsense. Your conscious mind has no time for nonsense. Your unconscious mind has plenty of time for nonsense, because it doesn't it isn't regulated, or it isn't subject to the restrictions of the conscious mind. And again, I'm going to look up Jung and see what's going on, but maybe that's going to be a coffee break video or part of a coffee break video, but not right now. But anyway, so maybe that's what's going on with the Wendy character. Some version of that might be going on with the Wendy character, where her mind can't tell the difference, or doesn't have the start and stop mechanism of the unconscious and the unconscious and the conscious mind that ordinary people do, or people who don't have any kind of issues, mental health issues or whatever. And what we're seeing is a mixture of her consciousness and her conscious mind working, and her unconscious mind working. And the game that maybe Kubrick has designed for the viewer of this movie is to figure out which is which. That's one part of it. That's one layer of the game. And the other layer is maybe to pick up on the symbolism that Kubrick himself is using and try to piece together the puzzle of what that all might mean when you take it all in its entirety. Because, like I said, I've read so many theories about this movie. So many freaking theories. And, like, some of them, like, there's good stuff. And some of them, it's just like, really, really. You know, but let me get going. I don't know if any of what I just said made any freaking sense at all. And so please forgive me if it didn't. I'm trying as hard as I can. But anyway, so this is the where we left off, you know, minute 12. And then, so this, we're led to believe, or we're supposed to believe, or people believe, I don't know how to say this, that this image of Danny, some people say it's screaming, but there's no scream. You don't hear a scream. It looks more like he's gasping, just like a newborn baby when it takes its first breath. But we're led to believe that this is the product of Danny's mind rather than Wendy's. And, which is which? I don't know. But this is minute 12. And then here's the next next image. Okay, more blood. More blood. Blood on the walls. And, I think I've read in places where they said that, like, they shot this over and over and over again to get it just right. I believe it. I totally believe it. And like I said in the other video, if this is Wendy, if this left side door represents Wendy and the right side door represents Jack, and this dial for the elevator, Wendy has put herself at number 1 and Jack at number 2. All right. And on top of that, look at the blood splatter on the walls. Like I said, very reminiscent of the movie, The Haunting, and or the book, The Haunting of Hill House, with Shirley Jackson as the author, with Eleanor's character and, the episode with what's probably her menstrual blood. But let's keep it going. So blood. And here it is coming at you, coming at the camera, the viewer. And finally, like, we have this wave of blood that totally blacks everything out. All right, so this blood is very important and very interesting. Like I said, I think it's female in origin. All right, and the symbolism is menstruation, childbirth, afterbirth, like whatever, right? Placenta, I don't know. And then after this, we cut to here. All right. So the doctor. Oh, and by the way, you guys, I've been playing on Twitter and I've been enjoying the hell out of it. And I found all these accounts on Twitter. Check out my Twitter. It's in my About page. And I found all these awesome accounts that are all like, I guess, parody accounts. Of course, they're parody accounts of all the different characters in The Shining. And they all followed me back. I followed them and they all followed me back. I'm just so happy about that. Maybe I need like a better hobby. I don't know. But this, I was like so happy about that. But whatever. So, and Twitter's been giving me a hard time too. They don't want me to make any new friends. If I try to follow too many people at once, let me not get into it. And I haven't been following hundreds of people. No, you can check on my account. I've been following like maybe 20, maybe 30 people at a time. Mostly horror movie people because that's what I'm into right now. And like Real Housewives because that's what I'm into as well. But no, like they're like, no, you're following too many people. And I'm like, ooh. They just cramp your style over there. But I'm still there, so check me out if you want to. But anyway, I don't know where this video is going to go. I'm going to talk about these screenshots that I've taken because that's what I do. But there's like so many things I want to say. But sometimes I don't know exactly how to say them because I run out of words or I can't think of a word or whatever. But I'm going to try. And like I said, the first step to analyzing any work of art, this is what I deeply and truly and utterly believe, is you just got to look at it. And don't worry about logic. Don't worry about like you know, like they teach you at school. Like you got to do one thing before you do another thing, before you do a third thing, and so on and so on. No. No, you're not in school. This is not school. If you are a student somewhere like college or whatever, which, hey, how you doing? You know, you might be from my professional life. Hi. Thanks for stopping by. But if you are in school, yeah, this is not that. This is not school. This is not school. School is supposed to prepare you for shit. Allegedly. But that's not here. That's not this place. You're not getting prepared for anything. This is fun. And those of you who are here, you're here because you're into this movie and you have fun trying to solve the puzzle and whatever. So yeah, we don't have to do things in a logical way. No, we can do them. Like I said, I don't expect shit to make sense. And definitely not with this movie. But here we are, like, right, okay, after this, and I'm so glad I did this PowerPoint. And then after that blackout, the blood blackout, then here we are again. Back in the Torrance apartment. This time, we're no longer in the bathroom. The bathroom is over there, and, you know, it's in the frame of this shot for a reason. This shot of, Danny getting examined by this doctor who we assume is a pediatrician. And again, we could be wrong. This lady has a doctor's bag, has these instruments and whatever. Is she a pediatrician? We don't know. But we assume. Okay. And one of the things from the Wendy is Crazy theory that, you know, that video that I'm not going to be mentioning very much anymore, at least not by name and not by the creator's name, is that one of the theories, or part of the theory, is that when you see a shot that is behind somebody's head, you know, the camera is following somebody, then you can, according to the theory, safely assume that it's one of Wendy's hallucinations. Hallucinations. Sorry. I pronounced that kind of funky. And so here we are behind Danny's head. Again, I believe that the person who made the Wendy theory video is like heavily plagiarizing other people. That's why I don't necessarily want to give that person credit. And I don't want to mention their name anymore because, like, the more I look into it, and I have been looking into it, trust and believe, the more I look into it, the more I think about it, the more dastardly I think it is. So, you know, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but I have the right to be wrong. And because the person is anonymous who's running that account, like, you know, what they gonna do about me expressing my opinion about their nonsense. But anyway, but that part of the theory is part of the theory. When you see a shot that starts behind somebody's head, or, you know, in back of somebody, in back of one of the characters, that it's supposed to probably be, according to the theory, one of Wendy's hallucinations. Hello. Here we are. All right. So that's one issue. And then this doctor person, like, check out, like, on Twitter. I wish I could, like, remember the name of the account. I think they called the doctor, like, you know, Mrs. Doctor PhD or something. Because we don't know this doctor's name. They never say the doctor's name in the movie, but I'll get into that in a minute. So here she is examining Danny's eyes. All right. Okay, cool. And look at the room. This is Danny's room at the apartment in Boulder, where the Torrances live. Okay, so here's a window over here in the bathroom, and then when you go down the hallway, you know, when you exit this door, turn left, go down the hallway, then you get into the living room, and then there's a window that is the word perpendicular? I hope it is, to this. So I don't know if you can see what I'm getting at, but this window and this window, either, like, maybe one of these, or maybe even both of them, like, just shouldn't be there, based on the layout of the apartment. So I don't know if it's, you know, because I'm not good at this shit. Is it this one or is it this one? My current feeling is that it's probably this one, the bathroom window, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. And do remember that in the shot from my prior video where Danny's brushing his teeth and like we zoom, like from Danny's bedroom, we zoom into the bathroom and there's this shower curtain. Okay. And like I said, this bathroom is organized almost exactly the same way, if you've seen the movie before, the same way that the bathroom in room 237 is organized. Toilet on this side, sink over here, bathtub over here, and there's an infamous shower curtain in room 237's bathroom. Okay, but we'll get to that when we get to that. But I'm concentrating on this right, and this color too, this green above this window that I believe maybe shouldn't be there. Like just like Stuart Ullman's window in his office, like that window that ain't got no business being there. Maybe this window ain't got no business being there either. And it's the same. The curtain in front of this window is more or less the same color as the inside, the tile work and everything of the bathroom in room 237. But that's just, I'll just leave that right there for now. Remember when I was doing a month ago, part 4 of the Understanding the Shining series. And we were zooming in, I think that's what it's called, I'm not sure, into the bathroom while Danny is on his little stepping stool at the sink, allegedly brushing his teeth. He's not brushing his teeth. He's talking to Tony. But I said, look into the bathroom. Make note, visually, of all of the items in the bathroom. And I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but I said there's going to be a rubber ducky over here in this corner in the bathtub. Hello again. Had a little interruption, but now I'm back. Anyway, where was I? Oh yes, rubber ducky. It was here. It was here behind the curtain, but the curtain doesn't cover the whole front part of the bathtub, so you could see this little corner over here, and they're showing you this little corner over here again on the left. Stanley is showing you this little corner over again on this side of the screen to emphasize that, in my opinion, if you're looking close enough, you'll see that something is missing that was there when, again, Danny was allegedly brushing his teeth in the bathroom. That thing is the rubber ducky, and it has been moved. It has been moved. Where has it been moved to? Where is it now? Over here. On the right side of the screen, on the windowsill of this potentially false window that ain't got no business being there. Potentially. Okay. All right. Now, you all. Something's weird about this scene. This scene don't make no sense. Again, shout out to Alexander Rogers. He comes up with some good ones. It don't make no sense. It just don't. Because, again, we have the potential here, thanks to the Wendy is crazy theory, that maybe this scene isn't even happening in real life in the world of the movie. Maybe it's a product of, to put it mildly, Wendy's imagination. Maybe this doctor never showed up. Maybe Danny never passed out. Maybe Danny was never brushing his teeth. All of these things are possible. Yeah, with this movie, yeah. Maybe other movies, not really, but with this movie, definitely. This is possible. And here we are in Danny's bedroom, and his bedroom is just as much of a mess as the rest of the apartment. Just look at this place. I mean, bed's unmade. It doesn't look like he climbed into bed and it was made and then he climbed into bed and then it got unmade. No. This looks disheveled. And then this bookshelf over here with all these books stacked up all willy-nilly. And here's a tiger poster. Tony the tiger. And yeah, we're going to see some frosted flakes in this movie too, but not right now. But that tiger reference, which I'll get into, there's animals all over the place in this movie. All over the place. And again, this rubber ducky has jumped magically, it would seem, from here to here. And my first question, when I realized that this rubber ducky was first here and then over here, I said, okay, if Danny passed out and Wendy freaked out and called the doctor and whatever. I mean, I know doctors used to make house calls, but, first of all, like, wouldn't you call the emergency? I think they had 911 in the late 70s, but I'm not sure. But either way, you would call the hospital, you would call somebody, and they would, they had ambulances back then, and they would come over and get you and take you to the emergency room. The emergency room has been around for a while. Like, that's what would happen if somebody passed out like that, especially a child. Especially a child. Or is that just me, like, not making sense? I don't know. But okay, so Wendy calls this private doctor for, a kid who passed out, which that sounds dangerous as hell. And the private doctor somehow, gets there, starts to examine Danny. Okay. It just doesn't, that part of it makes no sense to me at all. That part of it makes no sense to me at all. And allegedly, according to the story that we're hearing now, Danny, that we're going to hear, if you watch the movie, this part of the movie, the doctor asks, what's the last thing you remember? Like, when you came to, what do you remember? And Danny says, I remember my mother saying, wake up, Danny, wake up, wake up, wake up. Okay. Wake up, wake up, wake up. And instead of calling 911 or the emergency service, she calls this private doctor woman that, I guess, rushes over with her little doctor's bag and whatever and starts examining Danny. Okay, whatevers. All right. And in the meantime, in the middle of all of that chaos, and the panic that you would have as a mother who has a 4 or 5-year-old child who just passed out in the bathroom, in the middle of all of that, somehow Wendy, and I assume it's Wendy because there ain't nobody else at home, took the rubber ducky and moved it from here to here. Long pause. I'm even going to take a sip of coffee because, no. Yeah. Does that make any sense to you, viewers and listeners? It don't make no sense to me. It just doesn't. Like, moving a rubber ducky from the bathtub to this windowsill would be the last thing on my mind if my kid just had some kind of a episode that might be dangerous to their health. But that's just me talking. That's just my opinion. Okay. But anyway, Dr. Lady shows up. She's examining Danny in this disheveled room with these books like all crazy all over the place in the bookshelf. And, okay, so the rubber ducky is one thing. This hot air balloon that's, I guess, hanging from the ceiling is another thing. Because when you look at the door of Danny's room, there's another hot air balloon. And the person in the balloon is Woodstock from the Snoopy or the Peanuts cartoons. The little bird that's like Snoopy's pal. All right, and then, it's on one of the stickers on the door. And then here it is again, another hot air balloon. What is he trying to say with these hot air balloons? One on the door, one over here hanging from the ceiling, this paper version. Is he saying that Wendy is full of hot air? I don't know. That's just a speculation on my part. But he might very well be. I'm telling y'all, this is going to be a long-ass video, but I'm telling y'all, Kubrick, Stanley as I like to call him, he's communicating in this movie in ways that are above and beyond anything that you could imagine as far as the use of symbolism and the use of iconography and the use of just like I think he's even playing with language. I think he's playing with language and like what's called linguistic determinism. Go ahead, look it up. I think I featured it in one of my videos. I think specifically in the one where I talk about iconography, the one with the thumbnail of Christopher Lee back in the 1960s. But so check that one out if you want to. Yeah, linguistic determinism. So he knows that we all have like the same wiring or the same background as far as our education and everything, and we all were taught and learned how to read more or less the same way. So we've all got the same programming, kind of like a computer. And all of our brains work the same when it comes to processing words. Some of us have issues, like me. And again, I might be dyslexic, I might not be, but something's up with my crazy brain. But, hot air balloon? Hot air balloon over on the door that you can't see now, but it's there with Woodstock. And I don't know if this is Woodstock as well, but I wouldn't be surprised. And Tony the Tiger, hello. Or Tiger, which makes you think of Tony the Tiger. And then Goofy. Maybe you already noticed it. Maybe you were waiting for me to mention it. And okay, here I am. I'm going to mention it. Goofy. Goofy. From the Disney cartoons. Look at him over here. He's also a puppet. You can see the strings aren't very dark, but they're visible. They're visible enough to be visible. All right, even in this grainy-ass picture that I have here, they're visible. And they're hanging from this window sill, from this window that might or might not have any business being there. Right over here close to this rubber ducky that also, in my opinion, shouldn't be there if it started out over here. And the Goofy doll or puppet looks a whole lot like one of the characters in this room, don't it? Hello, hello, hello. Wendy. Wendy and Goofy are dressed almost the same. Wendy's wearing a blue, I don't know what the hell to call this thing, a shift or an overdress or whatever. And Goofy is wearing blue overalls. Wendy is wearing a red shirt underneath her blue, deal here. Goofy is wearing a red shirt under his blue overalls. Wendy has this shoulder-length, very dark black hair. You can't call this brown hair or blonde hair. No. This is black hair. And Goofy has those ears that hang down at the sides of his head that look very similar to Wendy's hairdo. The long, floppy black ears that Goofy has. Another similarity between Goofy and Wendy is their faces. Look at a picture of Goofy. You go ahead and Google one. And you can't see the face very well here, but we all know what Goofy looks like, okay? We're all Americans. Well, maybe not all of us, but, if you've been exposed to Disney, you've been exposed to Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, and Goofy. Goofy looks Goofy. He has those big, crazy-looking eyes, the long, floppy black ears, and those teeth. Those damn enormous buck teeth. All right? And he sounds kind of dumb. Goofy sounds goofy. He looks goofy. He dresses goofy. Everything about him is goofy. And I don't know if Goofy wears those yellow shoes. Because you can't really see the shoes here. But yeah, Wendy's wearing yellow shoes too. All right? She looks almost exactly like Goofy. Is that a coincidence? I sure don't think so. Kubrick is trying to tell us something about the Wendy character. She's goofy. She's goofy. She's possibly slow-witted, because you know how Goofy talks. And the Goofy character in the Disney universe, he's a little funky. He, hyuk. That's, I don't know, I can't do a very good Goofy impression, but he sounds slow-witted. And he makes that sound. That's what I remember from watching it when I was a little girl. Yuck. And when you listen to Wendy talk, especially in the upcoming scene in the living room when she's talking to Dr. PhD here, That's the only thing that's missing from her speech. The hyuk. I'm sorry. I don't know how else to describe it. But anyway, and here she is looking. You can't tell me that's an accident. You can't tell me that's just a funky coincidence. Oh, he just happens to be Goofy just happens to be hanging out in this bedroom. Puppet, 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 puppet. Does Wendy see herself as a puppet? Or is Wendy the character kind of a puppet for something or someone else? I don't know. But I'm leaving that open as a possibility. And Wendy's got her back to the wall. Or as they say, her back up against the wall. So does Goofy. Okay. And Wendy, look at this. Okay, so the doctor is examining Danny. All right. She's looking at his eyes in this particular shot. And I already described all the stuff in the room that I think is pertinent to this discussion. The duck, Goofy, hot air balloon, tiger, Ducky should have been over here. The hot air balloon with Woodstock that you should have noticed on the bedroom door leading up to the Danny's brushing his teeth shot. And then here's Wendy, looking an awful lot like Goofy. And she's got her back up against the wall, and she's got her arms crossed in front of her. This looks like a protective or defensive body language kind of thing. She's trying to protect herself from something. What that is, I don't know. But when you cross your arms like that, you're trying, it's a self-comforting gesture. And she looks awfully worried. And again, at first glance, she looks awfully worried because, her kid is not well. Her kid just had this kind of weird episode where he passed out, and she called this doctor instead of 911. Okay. And so we interpret that as the reason why Wendy looks like she's self-comforting and she's got this worried look on her goofy face. Okay, but let's keep it going. Next frame. So we're on number 7. I got 46 of these. I mean, some of them I'm going to spend more time on than others, but whatever. Okay, so the doctor's finished looking at his eyes or whatever, and then she moves a little and you can see a little bit more of this mess of a bookcase. Okay, and here's Goofy and here's the tiger and and so on. She's putting away this light that they use at the doctor's office to look at your ears and eyes and throat and whatever. Okay, and Wendy, her line of sight switches from Danny to the doctor. All right. And then the doctor sits down on the bed and she starts asking Danny questions like, what's the last thing you remember? Do you remember seeing a flash of light or smelling anything? Or that's the stuff that she asks Danny. And Danny's like, no. The last thing I remember is my mother saying, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. And then I think they start talking about Tony and who's Tony and what does Tony do? And he says, Tony's the little boy that lives in my mouth. And the doctor says, okay, so if you open your mouth, could I see Tony? And Danny said, no, he hides. And the doctor says, okay, where does he go? And Danny says, oh, he goes into my stomach. And then Wendy interjects. I'm probably getting ahead of myself here. But Wendy interjects and says, oh, yeah, Tony's his imaginary friend. And whatever. So she's questioning Danny. And then we have this shot of Danny, his head, his face. And behind him is this bare pillow. And this is Danny answering. Oh, Lord, there's some cats outside causing a disturbance. So I don't know if you picked up on that, but I sure heard it. Anyway, so here's Danny on his pillow. The pillow is a bear. And we're going to talk about the bear. Yes, we are. But as you can see, so this is odd too, and I've never noticed this before until right now. So this is an exclusive on The Object of Art, Understanding the Shining, Part 5. This bear pillow is imbalanced. So the face of the bear is on this side. What is on this side? On this left side here that I'm going over with my cursor. Nothing. It just looks like, brown fabric. Is this the bear's body? If it's the bear's body, it's still weird. Like, the head is turned oddly on the bear. So maybe this is another, let me go to the next one. This is maybe another Jack and Wendy. So this is Wendy on the right with the bear face. And this part that's obviously, connected to this other side, it doesn't have a face. Is that Jack? Is she dissing Jack again? Is Wendy, and in the Wendy is crazy theory, is she dissing Jack again? So Wendy gets a face, it's a bear face. Jack gets nothing. Or maybe that's even the bear's, fanny. I don't know. I just don't know. But anyway, she's questioning him, and Wendy looks awfully worried. Have you noticed? In this scene, another thing that bugs me about the way Wendy is dressed in this scene. First, like I said, she looks exactly like Goofy, same colors. She's wearing an overall dress, he's wearing overalls, they're both blue, and the undershirt is red, and, possibly the same shoes, those yellow shoes. Okay. But this watch, though. Who the hell wears a watch outside of their sleeve? I mean, if you're going to wear a watch, you put it's against your skin on your wrist. You don't put it on the outside of your cuff or your sleeve, right? I mean, we just saw the doctor's arm, and she was wearing a watch the way that watches are traditionally worn. But no, not Wendy. This watch is... Who does this? I'm going to quote James Caldwell, too. Where they do that at? Shout out to James Caldwell. Where they do that at? Who the hell wears a watch on the outside of their clothes rather than the inside? Or up against the skin? Who does that? I don't wear watches, period, because who needs them anymore, because now we have cell phones. But, back when people used to regularly wear watches, probably your parents or grandparents, now they're just basically for show. People wear watches because they want you to think that they're rich. At least that's my interpretation of it. But back in the day, people needed watches because they needed to know what time it was when they were moving around and, going places and whatever. Now, not so much. Now you got a watch and a phone and, the whole world on that cell phone. But this always bugged me about this movie. This always bugged the hell out of me. That don't make no sense. It don't make no sense. And it just don't make sense. Okay. So again, took another sip of coffee. This room is a mess. These books are a mess. Here's Goofy. Here's the tiger. Here's the hot air balloon. Is Wendy full of hot air? And you know what that expression means when somebody's full of hot air? That means they're lying. Or they're making up stories and shit. Okay? And then this ducky. This rubber ducky that used to be here. And then somehow ended up over here. Rubber duckies belong in the bathtub. This one was over here at the edge of the inside corner of the bathtub. Now it's here. I mean, like I said, if Wendy was panicking about her kid, the last freaking thing that she would think of in that moment, in a situation like that, would be to move the goddamn rubber ducky. I'm sorry, I can't get over it. And then, like I said, the doctor is examining Danny, questioning Danny. And the questions she's asking him, basically she's trying to figure out whether or not he has epilepsy. If you go through the dialogue and she asks him, did you see a flash of light? Did you smell anything funny? I think she even says, something burning or Does she say something burning? I have to look at the script again or watch the scene again, but, you know. Because those are things that happen when, like right before people have either epileptic seizures, or when it's an older person, a stroke. Okay, so maybe Danny has epilepsy. Maybe he doesn't have any psychic abilities whatsoever. Maybe he has epilepsy and it's being poorly managed. And maybe not managed at all, because it looks like he hasn't yet been diagnosed with it. And again, if this scene is even like happening for real in the world of the movie, if it's not just a product of Wendy's, like I said, to put it politely, a product of Wendy's overactive imagination, we just don't know. We just don't know. I hope to figure that out a little bit better by the time I'm done with this video series and my, coffee breaks where I talk about The Shining or whatever. But this is not easy to understand. This is not easy to understand. This is not easy to put together. And like I said, it's just weird. It's just weird. What is Stanley doing? He wants us to know something. He wants us to learn something. He wants us to think about something. And he's teaching us something. I think Stanley's being a teacher in this movie and all his other movies. He's teaching his viewers to do something. And I'll get into that later, maybe in another video, or a coffee break, but not right now. Anyway, so here's Danny thinking. Again, this bear. I think the bear is the mama. I think the bear is Wendy. Everybody thinks that the bear is, I've read everything. Well, not everything, but a lot. Everybody thinks the bear is something else. It represents something else. I don't think it represents anything else other than Wendy. I think that whenever you see a bear in this movie, this is where I'm at right now, you're seeing a version of Wendy. Symbolically, it's Wendy. So which brings me to one of the things I wanted to talk about. Remember Ice Cream? All right, this website. And when you look at the movie, there's stuff all over the movie. There's artwork, there's books, there's all kinds of stuff. And Ice Cream has done an amazing thing. In the scene that we're going to look at next, where there's all these books and stuff, they've actually listed all the names of these books. And told you even a little bit about what the book is about. And again, shout out to Exorcist Reviews. Exorcist Reviews sent me down this path. Okay, but Ice Cream is a really good resource for that. And then they have another thing where they talk about the different animals and whatever. And I found this, bears. Okay, they talk about all the animals featured in The Shining, symbolically or otherwise. So we got bears here. Apparently these mountains are called Curly Bear Mountain, Four Bears Mountain, whatever. Little Black Bear. Okay. Apparently there it is, right next to the TV, when she gets the call from Jack that he got the job. And apparently, I think, this is the same bear that we see here when Jack is acting crazy and throwing that ball around the hotel. And this is also the same location where Halloran's body will fall later in the movie when Jack puts the axe to him. Okay, and then Danny sleeps on a bear. Okay, all right. Sounds like it's getting more and more complicated, but not really. Not really. So I'm going to leave a link to this, okay? Now, do I believe or do I agree with everything that is on Ice Cream's website? No, I don't. But it's interesting, okay? And it's a great resource for at least listing all of the objects, items, things in the movie that might mean more than they look like they mean. Like books, like animals, you just look through it. I'm going to leave. And the problem with the Ice Cream website, it's not easy to navigate. Like, I don't even know how I found this page. It's a part of the website. It's there. And I don't know how I found it. I wish I could tell you. So I'm just going to leave this link to this page and this page. And then you can, like, take it from there. But anyway, back to this. I'm telling you, in my opinion, the bear is Wendy. Now, back to this Dr. PhD woman. Here, look. Look. Here. Oh, thank goodness. Now it's confirmation. Yeah, Goofy's shoes are yellow. Goofy's shoes are yellow. Puppet on a string, Goofy. That looks almost exactly like Wendy. Or Wendy looks almost exactly like Goofy. And here's this Dr. PhD woman. Oh, and she's questioning Danny, and then here's Wendy again. Look at that freaking face. Look at that long drawn face. Oof. She looks horribly worried, and I think this is the part where she says to the doctor, Tony is his imaginary friend. And look at the teeth. Okay. Yeah. Teeth just like, can we see Goofy's teeth here? No, we can't. But you know Goofy has those big ass teeth. And so does she. Okay, so she goes from this to this to this within seconds. And again, if we just accept the surface narrative that she's worried about her kid, okay, it makes sense. But if there's something else going on, if this whole scene with this doctor is just in Wendy's head, oh my God. Okay, here we are again with the bear and Danny. And eventually, Danny gets sick of this interrogation from the doctor. And he says, look, I don't want to talk about this anymore. And it just, like, I made so many of these, because look at this. Look at it. Even prior to this, like, okay, hold on. Where are we? We start here. Okay, here, 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 here. Back and forth. And then Wendy, and then back to the doctor, back to Danny, back to the doctor, back to Danny, back to the doctor, back to Danny, back to the doctor, back to Danny. And that's a lot. I didn't count them, but that's a lot. That's a lot. Okay. So at this point, she's done with her interrogation, and that's what I'm calling it. Okay, and then we get an even better shot. Look at all the mess here. These toys, these games, these books. I mean, why would you expect the kids' room to be, like, neater than the rest of the house? No, of course not. And she's kind of done, questioning, interrogating Danny. And check out Wendy. Wendy is like, oh, Lord. She's sitting down. Look at Wendy's pose. She gets up, and Wendy kind of even flinches. Like, what? Okay. All right, don't forget the rubber ducky, because that just don't make no sense. The hot air balloon, Goofy, tiger. Wendy looking just like Goofy. Interrogation going on with Mrs. Dr. PhD. Danny's over here on his bear pillow. Like I said, I think the bear represents Wendy. That's my opinion. And then, okay, she's packing up her shit. All right, and she's finally peeled herself off of this wall, Wendy. Back up against the wall. Back up against the wall. That means that you're all out of moves, right? And here she is. Okay, still with these arms crossed, and that means she's still in this protective mode. All right, which she shouldn't be. The doctor's here, and everything seems okay, right? Okay. Moving on. Okay, so there, Wendy says to Danny, first of all, the doctor said, I want you to stay in bed for the rest of the day. I don't know why, but that's what she says. And then Wendy says, oh, we're just going to go in the other room and talk. Okay. And then they proceed. Look, I told you about this hot air balloon. Okay, hello. and hello. And both of them are basically the same colors. There's Woodstock here with the clouds and the balloon, and these are rainbow colors, and these are rainbow colors too. That's probably not Woodstock, but hot air and hot air. And the Dopey sticker that everybody says. When we're zooming into the bathroom when Danny's brushing his teeth, we see a conspicuously placed Dopey from the Seven Dwarfs. Dopey sticker here. And now it's gone. Now it's gone. So, was the teeth brushing Wendy's imagination, or was this meeting with the doctor Wendy's imagination? I don't know. And check out Wendy's shoes. They're yellow, just like Goofy's, remember? Okay. Something's wrong. Something's wrong with both of these, but I don't know which. I just don't know which. So did Wendy use her imagination to... did Danny even pass out, is what I'm saying. Is what I'm asking. Did Danny even pass out? Or did Wendy just make that up so she had an excuse to call the doctor? I don't know. But anyway, they're exiting the room. Let me just get going with this because I've been talking for an hour. And hello. So there's a window on that side of Danny's bedroom. And then there's the window in the bathroom. One of those windows shouldn't be there. And there's light in this room at the end of the hall. And the light is obviously not coming from this, wall. It's painted green or like a sage color. Is the light coming from this wall over here, the same wall as the window in the bathroom? Okay. It still don't make enough sense. Maybe there's a window on this wall, but like a part of the wall that we can't see through this door. I don't know. Let's keep going. Here it is again. You can see her shoes a little better here. She's got this hair dryer that she obviously doesn't use because her hair is not permed. And listen, back in the 80s, 70s, 80s, women permed their hair. And when they perm perming the hair is a process. Okay, so you gotta coat the hair in perm chemicals and then roll up the hairs in those thin rollers, and then you gotta sit like that for a while. And I don't know, I'm not sure, because I've never had a perm, and I probably never will. But my mother used to do this all the time. I don't know if you have to sit under the hair dryer with the chemicals in your hair, or after they take the curlers out and then wind. No, I think, no. They take the curlers out. I think they get the chemicals out of the hair, and then they re-roll the hair in bigger, wider curlers to get that like chrysanthemum look. Y'all know what I'm talking about. If you were alive in the 70s or the 80s, you remember these perms. They were nice and thick. And poofy. And then with the second set of rollers, that's when you sit up under this hair dryer. And that sets the hair. That sets the hair into the curls. So, like, when it says perm is short for permanent, so those curls are permanent until the hair grows out. Or, like, I don't know, if the chemicals lose their strength after a while, it's a terrible, stinky process. But, like, Wendy obviously isn't getting a perm. So, like, why does she have that hair dryer? Is she a hoarder? Is that what's going on? Is that why this apartment is such a mess? I don't know. But anyway, these windows don't make no sense. And I know somebody's done like a whole like thing about them. But, like I said, check out her shoes. Goofy. The clothes are goofy. She is goofy. Stanley is trying to tell us Wendy is goofy. Wendy is, weird. She's clumsy. She's slow-witted. And she might not even be in control of her own mind or whatever. I don't know. So anyway, they're making their way to the living room, and here's the living room. And again, look at this window over here. There ain't no windows in the kitchen. We already know that. And she's telling me, doctor, to sit down. Here's the table where they were eating those sandwiches, and Wendy was reading Catcher in the Rye. Where's the book now? I can't see it. Okay, and the more of this bookshelf. So this woman has way too much free time. She hoards books. If she's read all of these, oh my God. Here's some more very, very strong light coming from this window and this window over here. Again, the windows in this apartment are very weird. And here we are. Okay, they sat down on these late 70s, early 80s looking couches. And that's the phone that she was talking on when Jack called her. More of this mess over here. The windowsill. Books. And then this thing that I haven't noticed before, but I'm noticing it now. It looks like one of the sculptures in the Overlook Hotel. I think they call it a Driftwood Sculpture. Whatever this is, on the windowsill next to this stack of books. Very reminiscent of that. Anyway, let's get back to here. And I told you, all of these books, at least the ones that are visible, you can see them in this list of books prepared by Ice Cream. So, back to this. They sit down. Doctor sits down. Wendy sits down. You know, books and newspapers everywhere. Apartment's a mess. Here we go, and they start talking. And the doctor tells Wendy that Danny is perfectly fine. And Wendy heaves a sigh of relief. Again, look at these damn teeth. There's that messy-ass kitchen behind her head. No. There's these canisters. I don't know what they are, but they're there. There she is, the sigh of relief, and you can see those teeth. I want to go back a couple of slides. I've shown this movie to people before. And one of the people that I showed it to, or with the group of people that I've shown it to, this person told me I have really bad OCD. That's what this person said. And they said, this lampshade is giving me anxiety. No shade to anybody who has OCD, but a person with OCD can see when stuff is not right. I guess it's, they're very organized, a person with OCD. So they said, out of all this mess, the lampshade is what's bothering you the most. And they said, yep, that lamp, no, it doesn't look right. And they said, if I was in that room, I would not be able to get comfortable until I got up and fixed the lampshade. So, just wanted to leave you with that. Here's Wendy heaving her sigh of relief, and the doctor. Okay, and all these books. And the Wish Child. Okay, I'm going to get into this maybe in a coffee break, I think. But here it is, right? The Wish Child. I'm going to come back to this on a coffee break. I don't have time now. I've already been talking for more than an hour. I'm sorry, but that's just the way this goes with this movie. But the books and everything. And, we're almost at the end. Hoorah! Anyway, The Wish Child. So, again, talking to Exorcist Reviews. Shout out to Exorcist Reviews. He said maybe The Wish Child is connected to Danny. And maybe The Catcher in the Rye, which I cannot find. She was reading it at lunch, but I can't see it anymore in this room. Maybe I should look harder. But maybe The Catcher in the Rye is Wendy. The Catcher in the Rye is for Wendy. And yes, I believe Holden Caulfield has schizophrenia. But The Catcher in the Rye is Wendy's book. The Wish Child is Danny's book. And the Red Book, which I'm not going to go back to that, but the Red Book, Carl Jung's Red Book, is Jack. And I said, I love that theory. That sounds amazing. So that's why I'm giving credit to Exorcist reviews. But like one little modification, I think the red book is for the hotel or for Stuart Ullman, and the book that's like connected to Jack is like the alleged book that he's allegedly writing at the hotel. I think that's the book connected to him. But Exorcist reviews, that is an amazing theory, and I love it. And I hope people go over to your channel and watch all of your videos because they're pretty awesome. Anyway, moving on. We're almost done. So this is where we're just about ending off. Okay, so look at this. She leans in, Dr. PhD woman leans in, and then she leans back and she gets comfortable and she starts asking Wendy all kind of questions. All kind of questions. And we're going to get into those questions in the next episode, part 6. But first I got to finish up part 5. And this is the part of the movie where Wendy tells the story. Like, this isn't the part of the movie, but next time we're going to get into the part of the movie where Wendy tells the story about Jack and what happened with Danny's. And she can't even keep her story straight. What happened with either Danny's arm or his collarbone. But we're going to get into that in, like I said, Understanding the Shining Part 6. Before I, finish this up and wrap it up and whatever, I'll leave you with this. This doctor, PhD woman, who doesn't have a name. Others, who I won't name, but you can easily find it, have remarked that she looks very reminiscent of Stuart Ullman. And Stuart Ullman looks like a bear, and she looks like a bear, and listen. I agree that she looks very reminiscent of Stuart Ullman. But I don't agree that either of them look anything close to a bear. I believe that just like Jack is being interviewed by Stuart Ullman, the doctor is here not just to examine Danny, but the doctor is here to interview Wendy. So Jack got his interview, Wendy's getting her interview in the scene that we'll discuss in part 6. So that's where, and Wendy is the bear. Okay, that's where I'm at now. So what did we talk about? We talked about the rubber ducky, we talked about Goofy, we talked about the hot air balloons, we talked about the Dopey sticker, we talked about Tony the Tiger. We talked about the possibility that this whole thing with this doctor might be a figment of Wendy's imagination, and or the Danny passing out episode might have been conjured or fabricated by Wendy and or her mind as an excuse to get the doctor over here because she's just starved for attention. Like, yeah, Munchausen syndrome. They don't call it that anymore, but I'm calling it that because when I call it that, you all know what I'm talking about. So yeah. So Jack had his interview. Now Wendy's having her interview. And yeah, this is basically the female version of Ullman. Here is what we're looking at. So anyway, you guys, I have talked for, over an hour. Almost an hour. And, there's the book. Almost an hour and 15 minutes. So at this point in the video, I'm just going to go ahead and take a sip of coffee. Because talking for this long will dry you out. But once again, returning viewers, thank you for returning. New viewers, thank you for being new. Take a chance. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video if you liked it. If you didn't like it, hit the dislike button and tell me what's wrong. Okay, that's all I ask. That's all I ask. And, tell your friends. Share the video with your friends if you feel compelled to do so, and only if you feel compelled to do so. So, you guys, I am pretty much done with this one. I hope I said something. I hope I pointed something out. I hope I gave you food for thought for this movie. Like I said, I think Stanley Kubrick is trying to teach the audience something. And he's trying to teach people who have eyes to see. Okay? So, with all of that being said, again, one more thank you. And until next time, when I find yet another reason to talk at you in one of these videos, I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be something. But until next time, I am going to go ahead and bid you bye-bye. So, bye-bye, everybody.